That is absolutely impossible what he just did. That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Good morning. We are on Championship Sunday as far as the AFC and the NFC is concerned. We got two heck of a games coming up today, which I can't wait to get into. But nevertheless, before we even get started, I'm Jamar, and this is my brother Deshaun, the Destination Fantasy Podcast. How you doing this morning?
Man, I feel pretty good. How about yourself, bro?
Hey, man, I'm excited. I mean, we're going to see who's going to the Super Bowl here, and then at that point, you know, it's going to be a roller coaster ride for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I guess as far as Championship Sunday, you want to get right into the games?
Yeah, man. I mean, we got a couple of great games, bro. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Right, so this one here, the first game of the day, Bucs at Packers. Man. Now, I know we had some, tough games earlier in the playoffs, but this one here, it's probably the toughest one to pick, in my opinion. These teams played in week 6, and the Packers was up 10-0, and all of a sudden a pick 6 by the Tampa defense against Aaron Rodgers, and it was a roller coaster ride from there. The Buccaneers ended up routing the Packers, I believe, 38-10. Aaron Rodgers had 2 picks, which is a rare feat because I don't remember the last time Aaron Rodgers had a multi-interception game, to be honest there. But nevertheless, both these teams are a lot better than what they were then. And so, Deshaun, where do we go from here as far as this matchup?
Man, I think this is probably as it should be. This is the game in which, this is what fans want to see. 2 good quarterbacks in this one, 2 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. This is must-see TV, and I will definitely be locked in. So it's going to come down to the Bucs run game, man. If the Bucs are unable to unleash both Leonard Fournette, I expect him to be heavily active. And Fournette has scored 4 touchdowns over the past 5 games, Jamar. So I expect him to be leaned upon heavily. The Packers have been known to give up a couple of, running touchdowns to opposing running backs. So as good as that Bucs passing, offense is, I think they're going to lean a little bit more on the run game with Fournette and Ronald Jones. Now, granted, the Packers have been fantastic. I really don't see anyone beating them, but if there is a team that matches up well, it'll have to be Tampa Bay. Because they can spread out, they can score it quick, they can score it slow, like they can do, they can adapt to whatever your playing style of football is and, beat you at that. So, man, this is going to be a hard fought game. But the good thing about the Packers side of the football, Jamar, is they got a quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over. He's going to make minimal mistakes. So he's not going to allow, him to be able to throw this football game away. They got one of the best wide receivers in the league in Devontae Adams. I expect him to be heavily involved. And if the Packers can, go ahead and, rush the football with that 3-headed monster that they have there, I think that this will be a game in which the Packers should be able to, be the victor.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Regardless, I know this game is probably going to come down to the last possession or two. Antonio Brown not playing that hurts. But it's like on the flip side, how do you count out Tom Brady? Like, is that even a thing? Do you bet against Tom Brady? It's basically going to bet against somebody that historically has got it done against a player that, before Patrick Mahomes came, was, the greatest talent of a quarterback that we've ever seen in our lives. And, for me being a Bears fan, it hurts for me to say. But basically, I'm calling a spade, man. Like Aaron Rodgers, he's on a revenge tour. That's what it feels like. Ever since they, drafted Jordan Love in the first round, I feel like that probably pissed him off. to a high degree. So I don't know, man. I was telling people this all week. If you about to push me off a ledge and I had to pick a option here, I'm rolling with the Bucks. But man, oh man, I don't feel too confident in my answer though. But yeah, man, that game comes on at 2:05 Central Time today, so definitely got plenty of time. Do what you got to do to sit in front of that. So you'll be able to watch it.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be able to watch that one.
All right, and so, I mean, are we gonna have a State Farm Super Bowl here? As you know, Aaron Rodgers is State Farm, Patty Mahomes is State Farm, but I mean, the Buffalo Bills, that's no pushover there by any means of the imagination. So I'm gonna let you dive into it first for us.
Man, again, another must-see football game here is I'm thinking we're getting like a treat, Jamar, this Sunday, and like two of probably the best, AFC and NFC conference games that we could see over like the past 5 years or something like that. You got to look at like the quarterbacks that's playing today. I mean, you got two just solidify Hall of Famers, right? So you just got Tom Brady, you got Aaron Rodgers on one side, you got two of like the young guns, you got Josh Allen, you got the face of the NFL right now, like the young face of the NFL, and Patrick Mahomes, and whom you and I just don't like to bet against, but that's going to be very difficult in this football game considering how well the Bills play football. Like the Bills are a very tough team. They got a tough quarterback, they got a tough wide receiver. Like, this is a very tough game. And, Stephon Diggs will be huge in this one. Like, he will be huge. But at the same time, do not mistake the Chiefs secondary. They have been very, very good this season. They have flown under the radar. But I really think who's going to be the X factor in this football game is those slot receivers, like we wish to call them, the John Browns, the Cole Beasleys. Like, those guys are going to be huge. You might even go ahead and throw in Dalton Knox into that mix. Because I think the Chiefs are going to do their best to try to contain. And again, I said try because Stephon Diggs have been fantastic. Try their best to contain Diggs. The Bills don't give you too much in terms of the running game. So they're going to need to run the ball enough just to keep the defense honest, in which they have done this year. So, but the Chiefs side, God, man, like it's just like, what do you do? Like, those guys are going to get there. Kelsey's going to score. He's just like an automatic end zone guy. I mean, Reed can score in a bunch of different ways, whether, rushing or, receiving. Like, that guy is just amazing. Patty Mahomes can like get outside the pot. Like, that offense is just locked and loaded to play anyone on any given Sunday. So this is going to be a tough football game, Jamar. And again, I would still have to go with the Chiefs.
Absolutely. And just quick notes here. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's probably going to play today. And, the last time these two teams played, I think it was like week 5 or something like that, primetime game, the Chiefs had 245 rushing yards. 245 rushing yards. Patty Mahomes only threw for 202 yards. So I know the Bills defense is playing better since then, but man, like, CEH ran all over them. Darrell Williams even got in there and got him some love on that too. But that Chiefs offense is tough. Sammy Watkins might actually be available here, and wouldn't that be something? That's his former team, the Bills, which part of that coveted 2014 wide receiver class. Matter of fact, I mean, Devontae Adams part of that class too. So yeah. I definitely expect the Chiefs to handle business. I know yesterday when I was on the Early Sports podcast on that one, we were saying that basically, as long as Mahomes doesn't really like turn over the ball and give the Buffalo Bills, extra opportunities, to capitalize and make the game closer than what it should be, Chiefs should win. And like you said, definitely not betting against that bad man of Patty Mahomes. Man.
Right.
Not doing it. So yeah, I'm with you taking the Chiefs there. So you got Chiefs Packers Super Bowl.
I got Chiefs Packers Super Bowl.
All right, I got Chiefs Bucks Super Bowl. So we're gonna see either way, we're gonna have a great Super Bowl.
Yep.
Even if the Bills make it, it's gonna be a great Super Bowl, regardless. So I'm looking forward to whomever gets there. All right, so you want to get into some other news here?
Oh yeah.
All right, so as a lot of people may know, there's been a lot of head coaches hired the past, I guess, 7 days here. 6 jobs has been fulfilled. There's one more left. We'll get into that in a bit. But just to go over a list here. All right, I'm gonna read off these names, where they went, and we'll just go down the line here. So I guess the first one, the New York Jets hired Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator from the San Francisco 49ers. I feel like this was a great hire for them. This is definitely the complete opposite of Adam Gase. You ain't got to worry about, bug eyes in the press conference, just all over the place. But no, I feel like this dude is a real leader, man. He motivates and get the best out of his guys. So at this point, I feel like the Jets are heading in the right direction. What are your thoughts on this hire?
I mean, yeah. That one, it makes sense. It's you got to understand. So the Jets is like one of those franchises that's just going to need to be completely revamped. And I think this is a guy who can keep whoever, is coming in or going out. I think he can, coach them to the best of their abilities, get the best, out of whatever players are there. But I think they understand that it's going to be a transition period in which is going to take multiple years in order for them to be back in like the mix. But as far as like the hire for the Jets, man, I really like it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I guess that at this point, we're going to see, we maybe actually have a real evaluation of Sam Darnold here, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So, I feel like the jury's still out because he has not been put in the best position possible to succeed by any means since he's been in the league. So yeah, maybe Sam Darnold's fantasy value might increase by default by next year, but there's a lot more off season to come. So we'll see what happens there. Second one on the list that we're gonna go over, Arthur Smith, previously offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans here. So I feel like this is another solid hire. Probably will end up getting the best out of, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Todd Gurley, whomever is there. But yeah, what's your thoughts on this one?
Man, I love it. I really love it. It's exactly what the Falcons needed, considering that, look, so this guy has taken AJ Brown, he's taking Derrick Henry, he's taking Ryan Tannehill and made them into perennial like Pro Bowlers, bro. So it's a great fit for them. That way he'll be able to get the best out of Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, because make no mistake about it, they have offensive weapons on that Atlanta Falcons offense, but they just hasn't. They weren't able to put it all together, Jamar, in which, you and I both, scratched our heads for multiple seasons. Like what the heck is going on? Like they got 2 fantastic wide receivers. They added Todd Gurley into the mix. Now, again, that may have been, a Todd Gurley that is past his prime, but still legit on paper. They have a very, very solid offense. And for them to bring in a guy who is offensive minded, he should be able to flip that thing around no problem in my opinion. So this is probably my favorite coach addition thus far.
I can definitely see that, and honestly, the Falcons haven't been the same since that Super Bowl.
You're right, bro.
As crazy as that sounds, it's every year their offense is on paper it looks elite.
Yeah.
It does. And for them to not basically underachieve each and every year and be at the bottom of the division, I don't get it. So, like I said, Matt Ryan, I think he's 35. Julio, he's been there for a while. I mean, maybe Arthur Smith gets these guys, back to playing like they're supposed to, get them contending. Maybe Julio Jones might find the end zone a lot more often than he has in his career thus far. Maybe, right?
Who knows? And like that was like the huge knock on Julio, bro. But it's been some chatter about Julio finding another team, and the Falcons are willing to part ways with Julio. Now, again, it's just speculation at this point. But getting rid of like one of the probably the greatest wide receivers of you and my time, you know what I mean? I think that'll be foolish. But I mean, if the guy is unhappy there, they got to do what they have to do. But I would like to see this offense going forward under this new head coach. I think great things ahead for this offense.
Fair enough. All right, the next person we're going to mention here probably has the most pedigree as far as a head coach just in general. This is his first time in NFL. It's Urban Meyer. So basically, Jacksonville swinging for the fences here, hoping like his big name, his past, accomplishments and accolades in the college level could translate over to the NFL level. They're projected to get Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 pick here. So basically, they started from fresh with a lot of people still respect Urban Meyer just for as far as what he's been able to do in his career. So, what are your thoughts here?
No, I mean, like you just said it, Jamar. Like a lot, like he has like the respect of like just a bunch of like ex players and ex coaches, So I think this was like a great name. So you got to understand something. So Jacksonville again are in like basically a rebuilding mode. A bunch of young players, and it just seems like Urban Meyer is able to get the best out of those young players as he did in college. He won in college. Right. With multiple teams. So it's like I think this is a great fit. And like out of all like the coaches, this was probably like my number 2 pick. I'm hoping that Urban Meyer can get it done. I'm hoping that they do draft Lawrence over Fields, and that's just my opinion. I think that they can get more out of Lawrence just right away, even though I think Fields may be a little bit, I think it'll just take him a little bit time to get more acclimated. But Urban Meyer, man, great hire for Jacksonville. I love it.
Definitely. So I'm curious and slightly excited to see exactly what the future unfolds for Jacksonville here. I mean, it was just a few years removed from being in the Super Bowl in that fourth quarter against the Patriots. They was right there. Okay, so that's 3 down. We got 3 more to go. Now, these hires here, I'm not the biggest fan of. We're going to start with Brandon Staley, former defensive coordinator of the Rams, now the head coach of their crosstown, I guess, quote-unquote, rivals of the Chargers. Boy, you know what? Let me go here and go first. All right, check this out. So, Anthony Lynn, I mean, I get it. They didn't have a good season. They didn't. And that's because of, I feel like, a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Also, having Tyrod Taylor in the beginning, rookie quarterback that you haven't put in the game yet, trying to fill it out. I mean, Anthony Lynn was a coach that brought the team to the playoffs. I felt like they played for the man. But anyway, so you got rid of Anthony Lynn in hopes to further develop and quote unquote unlock Justin Herbert, because as we know, Justin Herbert has had a sensational season for rookie or not, like sensational season across the board. He was definitely a fantasy superstar in the making.
For sure.
Definitely helped me out. I won my 16-team league because of that man. I don't know if you saw that trophy that I'm about to get.
Dude, that mug is nice, man. I love it. That mug is fire.
Appreciate that. We got to do something of the sort for LexCorp here, but yeah. So that was supposed to be the plan, to get somebody to unlock Justin Herbert, but instead you got a defensive coordinator that feels like on the opposite side of the hallway. This was the Staples Center, right? Like Clippers to Lakers move. That's what it feels like here. Like they didn't. I feel like they didn't really try. I mean, maybe their defense they wanted to shore the defense, but I feel like the defense is just playing bad because of injuries. That's my opinion, because I know the Chargers defense in general is usually solid. and from a fantasy perspective, they can force takeaways and get sacks. But I'm scratching my head on this hire here.
I mean, likewise, Jamar. But so like the Chargers were in a bunch of games. Like they didn't get like blown out in like a bunch. Like they lost a couple by like a few points. So 9 times out of 10, whenever the games are like that, they typically are gonna like blame that upon like the head coach, which is unfortunate considering that, like you said, Anthony Lynn, in my opinion, he was an okay coach. I think he was like a middle of the pack coach. Again, like you said, the players, they came to play for him. And if we want to dissect it a little bit further, as far as like the offense that they had there, I mean, like they got some pretty good names. Like the backfield is pretty good. The quarterback there in the future, man, like they're good there. They got a veteran wide receiver and Keenan Allen who can get it done. They got a bigger wide receiver with Mike Williams. They got Hunter Henry. Like that offense is like clicking. Like it can click, and they have shown that they can put up points. So maybe Anthony Lynn was not the coach to actually just fire them up just like that. But I feel like his time was like short there. I feel like if they would have hung in there with that guy and Justin Herbert, like you said, he had a fantastic season under him. So this one definitely like left me scratching my head once I saw that they actually let him go. But who knows? Like we'll see what this guy has in store for him. But this one was definitely a head scratcher for me, Jamar.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what you said, it wasn't like a lot of games they lost. It was one possession games or the final play. I remember 2 or 3 games that they lost because of the final play of the game. So I wish he had one more year, just to see if we can get a full 16.
Yeah, for sure.
With Justin Herbert in him, but it is what it is. Maybe this guy can get it done for him. We'll see. All right. The next one here. This is Nick's. I'm gonna butcher this name. Is it Sirianni? If I pronounced that right, maybe. This dude came from the Colts. I mean, the Eagles, I feel like, in my opinion, had to fire Doug Peterson. If you all remember what happened in the last game of the regular season, when the football team was going against the Eagles, football team, had to win to get into the playoffs. The Eagles had Jalen Hurts in there, and the way that the game was going, it felt like if Jalen Hurts would have finished the game, Eagles would have won, and you probably would have saw the New York Football Giants in the playoffs. That's my opinion. But the way that he was taken out of the game, and no one knew that was happening, it's like none of the players was on board with that either. So it's like, in my opinion, like how do you play for somebody that at least half the locker room, if not majority, probably won't even want to play for you anymore? That's how I look at it. So, you get a coordinator from the Colts, who the head coach is Frank Wright, who came from the Eagles. So it felt like, like a tree move, like a extended cousin type move here. But I don't know if this move actually gets it done here. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think of this one here. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I don't like it. I mean, I'm gonna just be upfront. I really don't like the move. And I mean, you think, and this Eagles offense, like they got some players on there to be able to make some noise if all of those guys gel together. But hiring a young head coach with minimal experience, and I'm not even sure where his respect level is, Jamar, as far as like his coaching prowess goes. So we will see, but I'm not liking this one at all. So that locker room was dysfunctional, and when I mean dysfunctional, it was dysfunctional. So I think you need a strong type of coach to be able to control all those emotions, and I think this is a guy who, if he doesn't watch himself, he can easily be, manipulated into doing the wrong things by the people, that's sitting like up front, in like the front office. Maybe that's why they did it. But I think a more stronger headed coach was needed for this particular situation, in my opinion. Kind Could it be a good hire? Who knows? Only time will tell. But just looking at it from, the outside looking in my opinion, no, this one doesn't make much sense to me.
And I agree with you. And the go after that. So first off, you get there, you got a quarterback situation.
Yep.
Carson Wentz, which I know for a fact half the locker room don't want to play for that guy. And then you got Jalen Hurts, who, seemed like the Energizer Bunny for that team, got them riled up, got them fired up, got them remotivated, realign their goals, seemed like they was, on to something there, right? And so, I mean, just based on the connections here from Philly to Indy and then, Indy back to Philly, it seemed like this man might be no more than a puppet. And I hate to say it like that, but that's what it feels like. And so, the Eagles was, selling, like anybody that's interviewing for that job was saying that, we still want Carson Wentz to be our quarterback. That's not a good selling point, in my opinion, as well. It just seemed like there's a lot of bad things and, situations going on with this team here. And as far as a fantasy perspective, I mean, we'll see. But I feel like the Eagles are going to be making a lot of moves this offseason. I still don't expect Carson Wentz to be there. I definitely don't expect Zach Ertz, as crazy as that sounds. But, I mean, they got a cheaper replacement who can be as productive as he is in Dallas Goedert.
Yep.
Alshon Jeffrey, I don't expect him to be back. So, basically, the nucleus to your offense that was there that won that Super Bowl, it's gone. That's how I feel. And so, I mean, we'll see what happens here, but I feel like the last month has not been a good look for the Eagles in general.
No, not at all. And again, man, like I really don't know too much about this Sirianni guy other than his relationship with the coach, but it's I think they are dooming themselves. I think you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, right here. And again, I mean, can we honestly name a more dysfunctional locker room than the Philadelphia Eagles this season? I really don't think we can. It'll be definitely difficult to do just that. And bringing in a young coach, I'm not sure all of those emotions and things are just going to be on, record highs. I just think that they needed someone, with more of a control of the locker room, someone that was stronger headed. So it's just, I can't see it, man. And I will be very, very surprised if this thing works out.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, so there's one more hire that's probably a little bit more head scratching, a little bit more, like who mans is this? That's the next guy that we're about to talk about. His name is Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell. So all we know is, he was a tight ends coach for the Saints. He had 1 year of an interim coach with the Dolphins in 2015, but that's about it, man. I don't really know this guy. Never heard of him. I'm not saying he could be terrible. I mean, let's just see, Joe Judge, he was a special teams coach, I think, for the Patriots, right? And he got the Giants playing well to finish out the year. Trying to think of anybody else that really no name guys coming in and just do a spectacular job, but I don't know, man. And I heard he had a press conference, in the famous words of Scar from the Lion King, to die for. So I'm gonna take a look at that after this podcast. But this move feels real Detroit Lions-ish, or Detroit Lions-y. It just has Detroit Lions written all over it. I'm just yeah. So, any thoughts here?
No, man. It's just like you said, man. Who mans is this, bro? So it's like, where did he come from? I don't know anything about this guy. And like you said, man, it's a very Detroit Lion-esque, for lack of better terms, move right here, man. It's just, goodness gracious. Like, if like the last two names that we mentioned were, like borderline, like Huns, like this is like a what the, so it's like, I really don't know what's going on with the Lions. Matt Stafford is gone. And again, this is going to be a rebuilding mode. So this guy has actually a chance to, become something over the next couple of seasons, Jamar, considering that, they're not going to expect much from this football team, in my opinion. With Stafford moving on and it's they were already in rebuilding mode. So like they definitely are in straight up deconstruction mode right here, man. I think they're going to like maybe move a bunch of pieces. They're going to be heavily involved through the draft this coming spring. It's oh man, like very, very Detroit Lions move. Like I don't know him, Jamar. I don't know this guy. So it's F plus for me. F plus.
Hey, it is what it is. And so lastly, before we get on to our next topic here, so there's only one vacancy left, the Houston Texans, which has been an abysmal, which if you haven't followed along, ownership there and the way they run their franchise and how the lack of communication between, the ownership, front office, and the player, where the star players are, and how they even treat the star players, it's bad. It's just all the way bad. I feel like it's the worst ran organization in the NFL, and they're not like the worst team record-wise, but just how they go about their business is probably the worst. And so you have Deshaun Watson there, and he's unhappy because of the personnel moves and the lack of communication and lack of appreciation and thought process to even, talk to him about certain moves. I mean, because I get it, he's the player, but he's the franchise player. So any moves that you make personnel-wise affect his future.
Thanks.
So, I mean, he mentioned, like, hey, why don't you interview Eric Bieniemy, who, in my opinion, should have definitely had one of these coaching jobs. Should have had one over Dan Campbell. But, so they are interviewing Josh McCown. Josh McCown. Now, granted, he's one of those lovable journeyman quarterbacks like Ryan Fitzpatrick is, but he has zero head coaching experience. That's just equivalent. If they were to hire him, and this is going to basketball terms, it's just be the equivalent of hiring Jason Kidd as soon to Brooklyn or New Jersey at the time, as soon as he get retired. That's what it feels like. And of course, Jason Kidd's professional career is nowhere. There's two different playing fields on that as far as level of careers. But just basically saying you're just gonna hire. If you was to hire him, you're just gonna hire somebody that has no experience right out the gate and just plug them in there and just bam. I don't get it. Of course, and they also interviewed Jim Caldwell, but I don't think that's a real consideration there. So basically, whoever they hire here is probably not going to be adequate to what they should be trying to do. Yeah, you got any thoughts? Because I don't want to continue on my rant.
Man, nah, I feel for Deshaun Watson. I feel for the Houston Texans, like a team that has been fairly relevant, Jamar, within over like the past couple of seasons. Like they're in the mix, in their respective division, and man, Deshaun Watson. I'm hoping this guy goes somewhere in which he can be productive, in which, the guys, up above him, like actually takes into consideration the things that he is, mentioning. Here's my thing, man. Like, don't go back on your word and say that you're going to do something and you don't do it. Like, you're just going to lose all trust from him. And I think that's the reason why Deshaun Watson has pretty much turned the other cheek, basically. So I think it's a done deal. I think it's a relationship beyond repair. And looking forward at this whole thing, I'm hoping that it plays out in his favor, considering that he is a terrific quarterback. I know JJ Watt is there. I think he's basically too much like stuck there, but Watson can actually, get out of Dodge before like the city burns down. And like he's a fantastic quarterback, and I'm hoping for him, to go somewhere in which he can be utilized properly, and they don't just start pulling people amongst them. And it was basically like a snowball effect, Jamar, and we've seen it to when they just pretty much yanked DeAndre Hopkins from him, just right from him. Didn't even say anything like, "Hey, we're going to remove your favorite target, your favorite wide receiver, one of the top wide receivers over the past 10 years. We're just going to remove him." Like they didn't even give him like a heads up. It just happened. Like, how do you think he felt? He felt the same way that we all felt when we just saw it on Twitter or ESPN or saw it, just pop up Bleacher Report, wherever we saw it, and we were just like, whoa. We just said, whoa. And, this organization is just right now, they're terrible. So
Facts. And you know what? Talking about Deshaun Watson is a perfect segue to our last topic. So there's a number of possible quarterbacks that's probably going to be on the move this offseason. And there's definitely some quality ones. And let's get right into it with Deshaun Watson. So with all that we just said, there's a number of teams that probably want this man on their team. My team, I know for a fact I would love to have him in Chicago. Matter of fact, right your wrongs, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, right your wrongs. You blew it, but you can get him. It might cost you arm and a leg, but it's worth it. But yeah, as far as Deshaun Watson, there's rumors to the Jets there. There's rumors to the Dolphins. Just as far as a football standpoint and a fantasy perspective, where any possible destinations you would like to see Deshaun Watson end up?
Yeah, I like to see him up in Pittsburgh, bro.
but you got your guy though. You got your guy.
Oh man, like that's funny. You know what? It's one of those things. Like I would definitely like to see him go to somewhere like Miami or Chicago, like you already mentioned, a team that's already established, a team that your Bears made the postseason. And at 10-6 this year, the Miami Dolphins are definitely moving into like the right direction. So like one of those teams would definitely make sense. Right now, it's just kind of murky to see with the Miami Dolphins, considering that like Tua is there. Like they picked him to be the franchise guy. So it may be like some murky waters to trek there. But in my opinion, Deshaun Watson is obviously the better quarterback with experience, and we already know what he can do there. So, again, once this, like some of like the dust settles, I think we'll be able to take a step back and reevaluate which quarterback is, fit in for what team. But once some more pieces are moved across the chessboard, we'll get a better idea.
That's true. And just throwing out, so let's just say he ends up in Miami. They give up Tua and probably the third overall pick. Because that's technically the Texans pick with the Texans. I don't know if they would do that or not. But anyway, let's just say he ends up there. You got a good running game. You got a stellar defense. You got Devontae Parker. I know he's not DeAndre Hopkins, but I feel like he's an upgrade from any receiver that you got in Houston right now. And so, that from a fantasy perspective, he can still be elite in that regard. He could probably get to the playoffs in real life. Go see a Steelers. My gosh, that offense is turning up. But you still got to address the running back situation there.
Oh, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I know I heard rumors to the Niners. That might be interesting.
Yeah, it will. I can see that.
Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, the running back, by committee there. That's real stellar. Headlining with Mostert. Defense is still fundamentally sound when healthy. Hey, wherever he goes, he's still gonna be elite status fantasy wise, in my opinion. Another quarterback that's probably gonna be on the move now, Matthew Stafford. I guess yesterday with the news, they agreed to part ways. I guess they ready to turn over a new leaf there. Matthew Stafford is still a productive, very productive quarterback who can still sling the ball downfield. Who is his toughness is second to none as far as the quarterback position. I remember seeing this man playing on a broken collarbone during his earlier years. So no, he is very productive. Another quarterback I would love to have on my Chicago Bears. I read something that maybe him to the football team.
Ooh, man, I would like that.
Like Terry McLaurin would definitely benefit from that. Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick if he's still there, Logan Thomas, basically the whole crew. The whole crew would benefit from that. But and I also heard I don't know, somebody mentioning like maybe him to Indianapolis. That would be something else there too. So I mean, what's your thoughts on Stafford?
Yeah, man. A bunch of Colts fans said that they wouldn't mind having Matt Stafford. Like, let's make no mistake about it. Matt Stafford has been always one of those back end, just from a fantasy perspective, like a back end, QB1, definitely a very good QB2 in 2 quarterback leagues. He's been that type of guy just because he throws for a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns every season in and season out. If he's healthy, he's going to be a guy who is going to push the ball down the field, like you mentioned, Jamar. And wow, man, like the thought didn't even my mind automatically thought Indianapolis, right? With the way how their offense is set up. I think going forward, Indianapolis is going to be more so of a run heavy team with that great rookie running back that they have there. But man, I really like the football team one. Now that you broke that down, I think that'll probably be a great destination for Stafford to land. And, outside of Deshaun Watson, it may be possibly another name that we have up on this list, and Matt Ryan. I think out of those 3 guys are definitely probably like the best quarterbacks there. All 3 of those guys are more than deserving of a starting quarterback spot on a football team.
Facts. You know what? Let's actually get into Matt Ryan. I'll say the other name for afterwards. Yeah, it was getting to Matt Ryan, who I mentioned, 35 years old. He's always been very good. I always nickname him B+. He always been B+ to me. Never quite an A, but you go home with your report card and you'll be
you okay with it.
Yeah, you are. Like, I can live with this. B+, all right. So that B+ quarterback might become available. He needs to go somewhere that has a strong pocket presence, a strong offensive line. And, probably at this point, he can still sling it, but it doesn't hurt to have a running game along with him. So possible destinations for Matt Ryan are maybe the Niners, maybe. But what are your thoughts?
As far as the Niners go, Matt Ryan would have to definitely completely change his whole playing style because the Niners are run, pass, run, pass.
But he had his greatest success with Kyle Shanahan, though.
Ooh, yeah, indeed. But it's I like I more so like the whole Watson aspect of it, considering that they are able to feed off of the whole like play action thing there, and having a tight end like a George Kittle off of play action with Deshaun. Oh my God, dude! Like that'll be like oh man. You know what? I'm starting the campaign. Watson to San Francisco right now. I know you don't like that, considering that you would want him to come to Chi-Town and like the Bears. I like that as well, but man, like all the cards are in Watson's favor in San Francisco.
Yeah. But I guess nevertheless, like, hey, those 3 quarterbacks that we just mentioned, like, they definitely gonna be heavily coveted this offseason. And we mentioned the Niners a couple of times. So that means, well, if Watson or Ryan ends up there, what happens to Jimmy G? So Jimmy G is on the list of guys that's possibly going to be moved here. Does he end up back in New England? I mean, that's an actual possibility for real, for real. I know that they signed him to that contract a couple of years ago, but between him, it seemed like his ceiling is capped, and injuries, and even who's it, Nick Mullins starting and actually being productive, like in that system. It's like, do we really need Jimmy Garoppolo still? Like, I mean, you got to be more than just a pretty face, man. So, so him being, possibly leaving, that is something that may happen for real. So, what's your thoughts on Jimmy?
Jimmy G has been a guy, and it's like, you gave Matt Ryan a Mr. B plus, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna give Jimmy Garoppolo a C. Like, I'm just gonna give him a Mr. C, maybe Mr. C minus. Look, you're good enough to start in the National Football League, but you could potentially be a backup, bro. And it's like you said, like a guy like Nick Mullins just being automatically inserted into like that offense and still doing similar things that you did. Jimmy Garoppolo, can he be a starter? Absolutely. Has he showed enough to be a starter in the National Football League? For sure. But at the same time, it's like you kind of got to count your blessings, young man, considering that I think that can be taken away from you. Is he good? No, he's okay. He's like one of those guys that we just say, okay, like, again, you get a C up on your report card, but you tried as hard as you can. You're content with that. But, no one really truly wants to see a C out there. So you just kind of like hide that C away. So, again, I think I think he can possibly be a backup. I'm just not sure if put it this way. If I'm the GM, this is a quarterback that I don't want to lead my franchise.
Oof. I mean, see, I can see that. I remember back at Purdue, it was like C's get degrees, and had they won a Super Bowl, he would have got that degree, right? C's got a degree, but no. So basically, what you're saying is, he's a capable starter, but he's not a franchise quarterback.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He is going to be a guy that's going to win you some football games in the right system, though, Jamar. They basically had the right system for him. He was on a run-heavy offense. He didn't have to throw as much as he, should, or much as like the average quarterback does. And, I mean, that was a winning, recipe for success for that offense and for like the scheme that they were running. But in order to get the most out of him, I just think that the fit just has to be completely right.
Gotcha. All right, so next couple names on this list, a little interesting here. Carson Wentz. There's definitely rumors him to the Colts. That's definitely a real thing because of Frank Wright. Frank Wright got the best out of him. Maybe he listens to Frank Wright and not Doug Peterson. Maybe that's what it is. But either way, I feel like Carson Wentz cannot return to Philadelphia. Locker room don't want anything to do with you. The fans probably don't want anything to do with you either. Your former head coach, who just lost his job, for sure didn't want anything to do with you. So, I mean, he just signed that nice contract last off season. So I know that something has to give here. I know in our group chat that we discussed that, but I did mention, like, if a team wants you moved, you will be moved regardless. Hill high water, you will be moved. So I think Colts probably the realistic destination here. But basically don't come to Chicago. I don't want you. But what's your thoughts on Wentz here?
Oh man, so like you're just like blocking him from coming to shop. Okay, so Jamar said it there first. He doesn't want to be a part of the Bears organization there. So, man, my thoughts on this is, first, let's just go ahead and I just want to kind of go off of what you said as far as no one wanting to play for him, and rightfully so, Jamar. Like, no one wants this guy around because of the simple fact that you basically whine like a baby about having your position taken when the guy who was clearly sitting behind you automatically gave them a spark. Now, when like the back and forth was going on, Carson Wentz, he didn't even cheer on his team. He just added more fuel to whatever quarterback controversy there was. And to have a quarterback that's just going to come in and cheer for no matter who's under center, no matter if you have your position taken, sit there is, in my opinion, it's some stuff that needs to be discussed behind closed doors instead of out in the public. But he made it his point to just mention his frustration about not being a starter. I get it. Dude, you weren't even the quarterback under center when you guys made it to the Super Bowl. It wasn't even you. So I feel like he already attacked that the wrong way. Just shut up, cheer up on your team. You got your position taken. Let that be the fuel that you need to get your spot back, kind of more so like Mitchell Trubisky did. And that's like a great, comparison because Mitch was there. And you saw him up on the sideline. He was engaged. He didn't, go out there and just like blurt out all of this stuff about him being unhappy that Nick Foles was there. No, what did he do? He used that as motivation to get his job back. And he flat out earned it. How come Carson Wentz can't do exactly the same? I get it. You're a Super Bowl winning quarterback with an asterisk by it, buddy. You have an asterisk by your Super Bowl. So with that being said, Jamar, Carson Wentz, I think a lot of guys are going to stay away from him. A lot of teams are going to stay away from him. And it has to be a really, like maybe a more so of a team with like a veteran presence to be able to accept this guy. But if he goes to like a young team, man, I just think it'll be, again, dysfunctional. Is he a pretty good player whenever he's healthy? Yeah. I think I pretty much think that he is a starting caliber quarterback. But is it worth the necessary baggage that he brings in order to add him to your roster? Again, if I was playing GM, this is a guy that I don't want on my team. Is Carson Wentz an upgrade from what we already have in Pittsburgh as far as like a quarterback goes? Possibly, considering that Big Ben is playing up on his last leg. But at the same time, I can just say that I just don't want this guy.
Facts, and the question is like, why he didn't do what Trubisky did as far as, be a cheerleader and get engaged and stuff. Because he probably feel entitled because he has that contract. And you're right. Like, he has a Super Bowl ring, but it feels like he didn't win. That's what it feels like. He didn't win that ring. You was given you got a ring just like maybe members of the facility there. That's what it feels like.
That's harsh. Harsh.
Let's be honest. Like, I know Carson Wentz was, having an MVP season, but for whatever reason, when Nick Foles got in there, like that team, like they played hard for Nick Foles. Like whatever he was selling, they bought in. They bought in heavily. Like would you imagine, like in any other situation, Nick Foles would go toe to toe with Tom Brady and beat him head to head in the Super Bowl?
No, like never, not in a million years, bro.
So that ring is all Nick Foles. So I can't even I don't even count that ring for Carson Wentz, and I feel like he probably took that personally that Nick Foles was the guy leading that team, and then the following year, like the Eagles was barely hanging on, and Wentz get hurt, and Nick Foles comes right in, leads them to the playoffs, and it looked like they was catching lightning in the bottle again. Beat my Bears with a double doink, and Alshon Jeffrey was a one drop away from that team could have been in the NFC Championship game and possibly defending their crown again. So yeah, mate, and you said a team with veterans. Maybe New England. Maybe.
I like that. And it's definitely going to take a mind like Bill Belichick's to, man, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, bro. A team that just has like that culture, like, look, this guy is here. Ain't nothing y'all going to do about it. Y'all not going to, heckle him. Y'all not going to, be against him. It's either this guy is in or you guys can get out. And I feel like that's the culture that New England has. It's probably a like lockdown culture. And man, Wentz to New England, I like it. I do.
So we're gonna definitely stay tuned on that. And all right, so we're gonna run run through these next couple names. Speaking of New England, Cam Newton. Now, as we know, that Patriots season was disappointing, but it was for a number of reasons. It's not all Cam's fault. Cam, contributed to some of that, but it's not all his fault. He was set up for failure for one. Eight players opted out for COVID, which I don't blame. I won't hold that against it, but with 8 players out, you already behind 8 ball at the beginning of the season. Second, the same reason why probably Tom Brady left. There's no weapons there, 0. It's done. Third, I know he didn't play well in spurts this year, and sometimes he did, but honestly, he didn't really look the same after catching COVID. And then even in spite of that, there's been some moments where he just didn't get it done. Like I remember, it was playing against somebody, and he was driving. They was getting ready to score a touchdown. He fumbles and lost the game. I forgot which team they were going against, but it was in the red zone and he fumbled. It's just bad break right there. And so, I mean, there's a lot of questions on Cam here, man. For one, is anybody gonna sign him? For two, is he gonna have another starting gig? For three, is he healthy? Like, four, is he gonna get the job done? Those are questions here, like legitimate questions. So, I mean, have we seen the end of Super Cam here? It's Cam, and I hate even asking these questions because I'm a huge Cam Newton fan. I love Cam Newton, but what do you think?
No, I mean, I'm with you. I think the Super Cam era is done, Jamar. And again, I have been, especially in fantasy football, I've drafted Cam Newton multiple years. I have won fantasy football, leagues with Cam Newton as my QB1. But I think that those days are pretty much done. It's just, look, a lot of that was on Cam. A lot of it was on Cam. I sit and watch these games when he just legit throwing these passes at these wide receivers' feet. Like, I mean, it's just, like not even in the vicinity, bro, of where the ball should be. So it's more so, a lot of it is on Cam. And again, New England, as far as talent goes, like who is really there as far as pass catchers? You know what I mean? So it was very, very tough in order to put him in a position that he would be able to succeed in, considering that no one was there. The backfield was in pretty much like disarray all season. They didn't have like a main guy. Burkhead would give you a couple of games, and then Harris was like the only guy. He would give you a couple of games, and it was just they were in like disarray for like majority of the season. And like you added, Jamar, like you have to throw in like a couple of those guys' names who opted out due to COVID, and again, that's a real thing. I'm not taking that away from anybody and willing to do so, but the defense was been pretty solid. Like last year, imagine if all of those guys would have opted in. You know what I mean? I think they would have been a much better football team, especially up on the defensive side on the football. However, Cam Newton, that place is not for you. They'd be a fool to keep him there. The offense just looked stagnant. It just looked like, molasses in an igloo, bro. It just wasn't moving. It wasn't moving at all. And a lot of that did have to do with Cam and his ability to throw the football down the field. Am I hoping that Cam lands into a situation which he can become like? Make no mistake about it, Jamar. This is a guy who has won an MVP. This is a guy who has played in the Super Bowl. This is a guy who has rallied his team. And we can even go to like Carolina days when it really wasn't too many other people there with him, truly. But that is just like the Patriots. It just did not fit. Cam, I'm wishing you the best, but a lot of that is up on you, bro.
Leave it at that for Cam, man. Just we'll see what happens. I guess a quarterback that's near and dear to my heart by default. Mitchell Trubisky here. I'll tell you this now. He's not returning with the Bears, so he will be on the move. So, I mean, as we know, Mitch, second overall pick in the 2017 draft, taken ahead ahead of the likes of Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. All right. So with Mitch, I mean, he had a roller coaster career here in Chicago. But I feel like he finished on a higher note than when he started. So I give him that. I feel like going to the right situation, he can be a very productive quarterback, can compete for a starting job, maybe able to have a starting job depending on the place he goes. But as far as possible destinations, I can see. I'm gonna throw this one out here. I can see the Los Angeles Rams.
Really? Where golf being there? You're gonna have to elaborate on this, bro.
All right. So for one, Sean McVay, I don't think is the biggest fan of Jared Goff because he'll drop some Easter eggs and hints there. Where I think the last time they asked him like he's our starting quarterback for now, or stuff like that.
Oh wow.
So I don't know if Goff is really his favorite person because remember, I mean, he inherited Goff, so and just based on the scheme, I feel like that's a really good fit because they do the bootlegs, the West Coast offense style. They have a strong running game. I mean, that's why I say the Rams. And actually, somebody actually mentioned the Rams as a destination for Deshaun Watson as well. So just throwing that out there. So I say the Rams there. I mean, I always say New England because Belichick always get the best out of his guys, type thing. Maybe the Niners. I'm just basically any place that has a strong running game and a quarterback like minded head coach in a sense that can get the best out of the quarterback is probably the best place for Mitch. That's my opinion.
No. I'm with you. And like you said, man, he really did finish on a very high note in Chicago. And again, he was a quarterback that didn't typically have very many, reps, especially in on a college level. Like he played how many games did he play in college, Jamar?
13.
13. And this guy was being drafted number 2 overall. So it's that was already a question mark in itself, and especially him being drafted in North Carolina. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I think the Bears got the most out of Trubisky in my opinion. I think maybe that's as good as he can get as we see him over the last couple of games, but it just seems like what you mentioned when David Montgomery, started to get it going. It seemed like Mitchell Trubisky was at his best. So like you said, I think he really do need to go to a team in which they can minimize his attempts per game. I think that's when he's going to be the most productive. Like a team like San Francisco. I'm not saying that's where he's going to end up, but I'm just throwing out a team that I know who has a run game that is pretty damn strong. So, man, I wish Mitchell Trubisky the best. I do say that. And I think he can be a productive starter for another football team.
Yeah, I definitely wish him the best, man, because I felt like a lot of the problems here he caught a bad break on just based on front office and stuff like that. And then last quarterback on the list, Jameis Winston, who sat behind Drew Brees here, lost his job to the eventual heir that's still playing in Tom Brady. I know he might feel a little bit, type of way on that one. But I mean, there's a good chance, Jameis stays there, but there's also a good chance that Sean Payton, you know what? I like Taysom Hill. There's a reason why we gave Taysom Hill the starting job during the time Brees was out. So thank you for your services. You can go eat some crab legs elsewhere. So I mean, here's the thing. We know what we're getting with Jameis Winston.
Yep.
You know what you're getting. You get a guy that will sling the ball. He will sling the ball. And there's games that it's like, man, Jameis just looks like it's number 1 overall pick for real. Then there's games that's like, huh? Who mans is this? That's how bad it could be for it. So he has he's a pure gunslinger. That's what it is. My thing with him is leadership. I don't know if he has leadership qualities to lead your team. That's my biggest knock against him. I can live with the gunslinger mentality. People can win with gunslinger mentality. Patrick Mahomes is a gunslinger. You can win with. Not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but I'm just saying. But you put him in the right situation, he can be very productive. Very productive. You got any places in mind? Because I'm starting to think of them right now.
No, I don't have a particular place in mind, but I think, in my opinion, I understand that McVay's love for Taysom Hill there, but in my opinion, who gives him a better chance to win is Jameis Winston. And I think Jameis Winston is better at playing just strictly the quarterback position than Taysom Hill. Now, we saw how Taysom Hill was like off on a couple of his throws. He's just not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's best utilized as what they had him as, man, like a Swiss Army knife. He can line out wide as like a wide receiver. He can come in close as a tight end. He can even bowl you over in the backfield. Winston to the Lions. Right? Oh, I mean, I can see that. Winston is a guy who typically likes to throw the ball, but you're basically getting the same quarterback that you had prior in Matt Stafford. So, Winston, in my opinion, I think he should stay in like the Saints offense, in my opinion. I think he's best kept there.
You know what? That Winston to the Lions. You know what? That might actually be a little realistic since they got Dan Campbell from the Saints that nobody knew about, and you know what? Both of them could end up being a bunch of who mans is this? That's what it could be. Both of them at one point. You see Winston throwing like 3 pick sixes in the game. Dan Campbell over there don't know what he's doing. You get him at the press conference, and gonna be a bunch of question marks. I can see that. I can see Jameis, but no. On a serious note, like Jameis to the Lions, they will have to change their whole philosophy because you know that is a pass happy team. And with Jameis, I know he's a gunslinger, but you definitely want to have a running game. You got the running backs to do it to change the philosophy. You got Marvin Jones Jr. Kenny Galladay is a free agent, so I don't know if he's coming back. Come to Chicago, by the way. We got another one. Winston to Chicago. I know Brandon. I know you probably want that. I'm half and half, and the reason being because, like I mentioned maybe a couple minutes ago, the leadership quality. I don't know. I don't know if I want that man leading my locker room. Well, leading my team in the huddle. I don't know.
And I think that's my biggest knock on Jameis Winston. Is can he really rally the troops in a need that the troops will need to be rallied? Is he able to do that? Is he headstrong to be able to will a group of guys to like a victory down the stretch? But that's again, it's still up for debate. But in my opinion, if Sean McVay was smart, he'd hang on to that guy. It's just Sean Payton. I'm sorry. So if he is smart, just hang on to him just for like another season, maybe 2. Look, Taysom Hill is not the guy there. Whoever they are to draft is probably 9 times out of 10 going to need to be like molded over a period of time. Keep Jameis Winston there. I mean, how else are they going to eat the W, man? Like they're not going to be able to eat the W if he's not there. So,
oh man, yeah, we have Wayne talked about him, possibly to the Jets because that's what's rumored here. Possibly to the Dolphins, the Niners,
which is our favorite pick, probably, by the way, considering that the complement that they would have with like the run game there, Watson would be able to unlock Kittle to like just a crazy amount of like heights there. So if
and Deebo Samuel,
Brandon Ayuk, like they just got basically a personnel on both sides of the football where Watson can go in and be productive and like legit contend for the NFC, championship there.
Yeah, and then of course I would love him in Chicago, and the real super wild card pick is the Rams. on that one. But yeah, Watson to 49ers probably makes the most sense right now if they can pull it off. I mean, I'm not like his ability. I get it. He has a ceiling.
That's what I just said, man. You gotta eat the W. Is that guy? He's something else. And again, that's the reason why I question his leadership ability.
Bro, like in the middle of that, like people was looking at him like, dude, like what the F are you doing? Like they was really looking like, who mans is this? Like that's who I'm playing football with. Bro, it was terrible. I agree. If Watson ends up there, Jimmy G's probably back in the Patriots uniform. I feel like 49ers are gonna get a quarterback, and Jimmy G is probably gonna be out the door. That's probably what it's looking like. So yeah, man, these quarterbacks and these destinations, and there's plenty of other ones that we could probably mention, but I feel like these are the main ones here. I would say, like I said, your Steelers probably on the market, but they got their guy, man. You got your franchise guy, Dwayne Haskins, quarterback, man.
He's gonna automatically become a backup. Look, here's the thing: Ben Roethlisberger is still a bunch of money towards the cap this season, and I think they're gonna do. Look, they're gonna give him his final season, and which it should be his final season this upcoming, year. But is Dwayne Haskins the guy after that? Come on, man. Like, don't make me laugh.
I don't know. Maybe he might get molded. I don't know, man.
Anybody is a step up from Mason Rudolph, in my opinion.
Facts. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. I mean, I guess would you rather have Jameis Winston or Dwayne Haskins?
Jameis Winston, easily. Not even a question.
Oh. I was thinking because of leadership qualities there, but at least Jameis can play, right?
Exactly.
You know what? We did, but we can go over it again really quick. So I feel like Wentz is out the door. The two destinations in my head that make sense right now is the Indianapolis Colts because of Frank Reich. Frank Reich got the best out of Carson Wentz, because apparently he don't listen to anybody else in that organization. And the only other team as of right now that probably will definitely get the best out of him is New England with Bill Belichick, because he cannot return to Philly, in my opinion, because that locker room is not playing for that guy at all. So yeah, and you're in agreement with me on that one, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Considering, I think the best spot for me, in my opinion, would be for him is if the Jimmy Garoppolo thing does not happen. I think Carson Wentz maybe to New England would actually work out. And I really don't care where he lands. This is like he has done everything to rub me the wrong way, and I'm not even a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Again, I don't wish the worst situation up on no one, but the way how he handled his quarterback situation definitely rubbed me the wrong way.
I mean, he is. Wentz is injury prone, but he won't stay in Philly. Somebody will take him. Somebody gonna roll the dice on him. I mean, it's not like he's on IR every year, which it feels like it, but when he's out there and he's playing, for the most part, he's productive.
Yep.
So somebody has to take him. It just won't be the Eagles.
And he will land a starting job. He's a starting caliber quarterback, but it's just once you add him into like a locker room, like will those guys be able to, like gel together, knowing that how he handled himself in like the past, like that always like stands, and that's what they're gonna remember him as. In my opinion, it's like a crybaby. So.
Yeah. They did say
by
that.
default. Yeah, by default. Because of the money issue, I think. If there was no money left and it wasn't that costly to like move him, I think that, they would, but in my opinion, that's just a front for like how much money they still have to pay the guy.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, how can you have a quarterback starting with the team don't want to play with you? Like, you can't do that. Like, you just not. It's just gonna be bad blood all the way around. You can't do it. Oh, Brandon, you must have just missed our our segment on Cam Newton here. Oh boy. You want to take this one?
Yeah, man, it's sad to say. I think Super Cam, the days of being, Cam being super are done. I think they're over and done with. And again, we even, put up some like different scenarios on how he could be a better quarterback in New England, considering like the fact that a lot of like those players like opted out, at the beginning of the season. But New England was basically just a rebuilding team, in my opinion. They didn't have anyone like. I don't even think they had anyone make the Pro Bowl from like the offense or anything like that. It was just it was just like all bad. I don't think they had like 1,000-yard receiver, nowhere near 1,000-yard rusher. It's just that offense was stagnant, and I think the term I used was molasses in an igloo. It just didn't move at all. And Cam honestly was a part of that. Again, he didn't have a premier guy to pass the ball to. But at the same time, like some of the, the throws that Cam made were like questionable. Like a lot of plays were thrown at, receivers' legs, like wide right, well up over like the receiver's like head. It's just, I don't think that Cam is able to go back to what he once was, which was an MVP quarterback, which was a quarterback who basically put the team on his back and carried them to a Super Bowl. So I think the days of us saying that Cam is super are done.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah, yep. And that's exactly what and again, Cam has been fantastic. It would have to be a right situation in which I feel like that he can be productive again. The cards weren't in his favor. It was. And yeah, Dwayne, who is a long-time New England fan, stuck with him through right and wrong. I gotta definitely tip my hat to you. A lot of people have jumped ship already due to Tom Brady moving out, but it takes a real one to sit there and just take like defeat and agony. Yeah, basically it was like molasses in the igloo, bro. And you firsthand like how it was. And I just think that with the pieces that you have, just right now at this very moment, Cam just doesn't fit that mold, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's crazy to me because he started off strong. He did. You started to feel like there was a resurgence there. There was a revenge tour starting to happen, and then he got hit with COVID. Then didn't look good for a while, and then basically the second half of the year is just like that offense it hurt my eyes to watch. Like, from a fantasy perspective, you wasn't starting a soul on that team. Maybe Damian Harris if you was in deep leagues and didn't have a choice, but you wasn't taking anybody on that offense because it wasn't basically molasses in the igloo. That's what it was. It was bad. It was cringe. Like my eyes was hurting watching that. And I felt so bad for Cam because it's like, 5-6 years ago, I remember you being super Cam and, taking the league by storm. And the year you went to the Super Bowl, your best weapon was a tight end. And I know saying that probably now because you got, Travis Kelce out there for Kansas City and George Kittle out there for the 49ers. But it's like, during that Super Bowl run, your best weapon was Greg Olsen. Kevin Benjamin was out for the year with a torn ACL. You had a rookie in Devin Funchess who was inconsistent at the time. I mean, it was basically the Cam Newton show. And so to go from that to playing like a shell of himself, I don't want to say he officially is, but I just want the man to be successful again. But it's like what I want and what's reality is
two different things, bro.
Yeah.
It really is. And like, I mean, again, I was a Cam believer. I was a Cam fan, but I think like the situation have to be particularly like right in order for him to succeed in like the near future.
Yeah. Their offense was worse than the Bears. You know how bad you have to be worse than the Bears.
Yep.
Yeah. I know. So yeah, Cam. I feel like he's really at the crossroads of his career right now. Like, and I hope he gets on the right path and at least finish strong because he was on a Hall of Fame pace. But
you know what? I challenge everyone to if you are truly a believer in which Cam could be able to revamp his career, I want you to go back and look at some of the games in which he played. I want you to go back and see exactly the throws that he made in the positions that he made them and just like the right moves. It just seems like he wasn't there mentally nor physically. I mean, and again, his body has taken a beating over the time of him being inside the NFL, but it's just all signs don't point to, Cam being great again, in my opinion. And again, I like to reiterate the situation would have to be perfect.
Facts. Indeed, it was a Cam Newton show. How dare you count out Cam? Y'all hit the IG. Hey, man, I kid you not. Them black and white workout videos and him slinging the ball, man. I was pumped. I was ready. Like, shoot, you need some white outs? I get out there. I mean, I'm only 5'7", but I get it done for you, Cam. That's how I felt.
Unfortunately, film doesn't always transition into like the game, so it looked good though. Like I tell you that I was ready to just get out there, even with my bum knee, and go see what I can do. He had me pumped, but that's just my opinion as make believe. So
yeah, man. I mean, we'll see what the future lies for Cam, as amongst the rest of these guys that we talked about. Between Deshaun Watson and Stafford and Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston, Trubisky, so on and so forth. Well, he said, well, not great, but at least efficient, fellas. I can see this at least with Cam. I mean, yeah, his completion percentage the last couple of years, especially in Carolina before he left, was pretty strong. The ball may have not traveled down the field as much as he used to, but if he can at least be that and still be a little mobile, he can still be productive. But he still has to have his mobility.
That's his identity.
Yeah, he's strictly a pocket passer. It's a wrap. But yeah, and then one last surprise segment for you, man, that I know you knew nothing about, which I just kind of just threw up in here while we were just talking. Okay. Talk about Phillip Rivers' retirement.
Yeah. I'm biased, man. I'm biased. Like I really am. So whatever's gonna come out of my mouth is gonna seem a lot biased. So Phillip Rivers, right, is man, one of the toughest quarterbacks that I have ever watched in my time. Like this guy played with basically like what was it like a torn ACL or something? Yes. Like so it's like who does that? So it's his love for the game is unmatched. When he's out there winning, he's all smiles. He's a tough guy, and I know it was like a lot of chatter back and forth about whether this guy deserves to go to Canton. And in my opinion, yes. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Absolutely not. But to lead your team in passing yards, to be in, all time and whatever stat that there is like that definitely gives you a second look by the committee. But it's just the intangibles that he has done over the course of his career and just what he brought to like those years with the Chargers were great. And honestly, he was like one of my favorite quarterbacks like Madden. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was like how my love for Phillip Rivers like actually started. And at the time, Phillip Rivers was like the team that pretty much like killed the Colts, which was my cousin Victor's favorite team. So like I love that as well. So it's I am definitely biased against this guy. Like, I love him. Like, I just with the untraditional way that he throws the football like this. It's just I like everything about this guy, and I wish that he was one of those names that could have hoisted the Lombardi Trophy. So,
Man. And so I'm gonna read off these stats really quick. I did post this on my Facebook page 3 days ago. So 63,440 yards passing. That is insane. 8-time Pro Bowl. That's impressive. 421 touchdowns. Like, wow. I mean, granted, 209 interceptions, but that comes with the territory. I mean, that's still a 2-to-1 ratio, slightly higher than that. So I'll take it. I mean, 0 Super Bowls and of course 0 Super Bowl appearances. But yeah, he played on a torn ACL in the AFC Championship game against the 2007 Patriots team. What you gonna do? And they lost, I think, 21-12. So they was in the game. They was hanging around, playing on a torn ACL, knowing he was playing on a torn ACL. Like, I put him in the category with Matthew Stafford as far as toughness is concerned. Like, bro, like, who does that? Who? And so, Phillip Rivers was part of some great offensive teams, man. Some great teams. We had LaDainian Tomlinson in his prime, Antonio Gates, like, my gosh. And those are 2 first ballot Hall of Famers, by the way. That's without question. And so yeah, this man, I feel like, and he never missed a game. Never missed a game. So he's just been consistent his whole career. And to play 17 years and sit behind Drew Brees for the first couple of years and then off to the races, like, that's impressive. That is impressive. And so Brandon agrees with you, not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he deserves to get in.
absolutely.
And then, Brandon said, I am selfish because I thought he should have or could have ran it back one more year with the Colts team. Like, he could have.
Yes, he legit could have, and again, I think I mentioned earlier, Jamar, that I think the Colts are willing to be a little bit more run heavy. And I think that could have preserved Phillip Rivers for like later in like the career, later in like the season rather. So like Brandon, I'm with you, bro. I think he could have played one more year, but I mean, it's the sun has set on Phillip Rivers, in my opinion, one of the better quarterback careers that I have seen in my time. So let him go spend time with his 9 kids or something like that. So yeah.
Bro, you're going to see about 7 Rivers last names in the NFL in the next 10 years.
I'm thinking so.
Rivers to Rivers, tackled by Rivers. And there goes Coach Rivers. Like, dude, there's going to be Rivers everywhere, man. That's phenomenal. Like, kudos to you for having a family of 11, including you and your wife.
Yep.
Couldn't be me, but kudos to you.
He got the money, man.
Hey, appreciate that.
Yep, indeed.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure that's my mother-in-law. Thank you so much. And then, of course, indeed, but Phil, yeah. He's part of that quarterback class with your boy and Eli.
Yep, one of the better ones, man. And and again, it's basically sunset on all of those guys. And like I mentioned before on like previous like episodes, man, we got to sit back and take time and give these guys the flowers while they can still smell them. Even though I am a diehard Steelers fan, and it, everyone else knows it. It's just good to sit back and watch some of these guys, do their own thing. So, I tip my hat to Phillip Rivers. You have been exciting. Your toughness is unparalleled. So, man, I'm wishing him nothing but the best. But I'm hearing that he's gonna have like some type of broadcasting job right after. So we haven't seen the last of Phillip Rivers.
Cool. And really quick, because I know we've been rambling, but not in a bad way by any means. With that class, Eli Manning, Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, how do you rank them? Because before I let you go, like, because basically this class is, quote, if borderline Hall of Famer was a class. That's what it feels like in some degree, because you can make arguments on both ends from what we've been having discussions over the years about with all three of these guys. But I'm gonna let you go and give me how do you rank them?
Man, it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be weird to me to say this, but I'm gonna go Roethlisberger, Rivers, Manning. And here's the thing. I understand that Manning does have like the 2 Super Bowls. Like I get that, but it's just I'm looking at over the full course of a complete career and the things that they were able to accomplish like outside the Super Bowls. And I know like that's the thing that gets everybody's eyes all bright and shiny when you mention a Super Bowl title. And to do it the way that Eli has done it, no one ever is going to do it that way, and beating Tom Brady and keeping him from winning, a couple more Super Bowls. But like the thing about it is Phillip Rivers was the real deal. He had longevity. He was more consistent over the course of his career than Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers was honestly more consistent, possibly than Ben Roethlisberger. I would have to actually go back and check the tape and, go look at like some numbers up on that one. But in my opinion, I would give it to Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, and then Eli Manning. I know that that's tough, but that's how I would look at it.
All right, and just to throw out Eli Manning stats here, 57,023 yards passing, 4-time Pro Bowler somehow, 366 passing touchdowns, and he has 244 interceptions. So, and he's played, 16 years? 15, 16? 16. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. And it feels like what would push Manning into the Hall of Fame if he was to get in was those 2 Super Bowl wins. And it's not just the fact that there are 2 Super Bowl wins, but who he played against and the level of difficulty for those wins, which is the 017, which if they had the Patriots won, would probably been the crown the best team of all time. And again, against Tom Brady back in what was that, 2011, 12? Was that around that area?
It was 2011. The 2011, I don't know, 2011 season going into the 2012 year to end it out. I think so. But honestly, bro, I think he's just gonna get in over his name. Honestly, he's a Manning. He's gonna eventually get in. We know how the Mannings have been the darlings of the NFL, and with Archie and Eli, and man, like they got this. I think it's Cooper's son. Yeah. Which is the man, like he's gonna be something. He's gonna be something special, like in the next coming years. So Manning is gonna be a name that we're gonna hear for quite some time, bro.
Indeed, and yeah, like Brandon said, exactly. The Super Bowl rings will be his ticket, and it was in 2011 when he got it done. It's crazy. I think both times the Giants were wild card teams, if I'm not mistaken. So. Just so you know, anytime you see the Giants in a wild card, be afraid. Be afraid. But yeah, man. No, this is definitely a pretty good discussion today, man. A lot better than I thought it would be, and that's thanks to you all interacting. Like seriously. And definitely, if you see the bottom of the tickets, there's podcasts available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and other platforms. Yeah, that's where it's at.
We everywhere, baby.
And also, if you're still reading, look down, it says subscribe and hit the notification bell. Yeah, do that for us, please. And then really quick, one more comment here. Yeah, Cooper's son is getting a lot of clout right now.
Rightfully so, man. That Manning name definitely holds weight. Is he has a history of daddy and uncles playing in the NFL, and Cooper would have honestly made it too if it wouldn't for like his injuries and things of that nature. So they know the right way to mold a kid who has like love for football, he's gonna be in the league. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So yeah.
Facts. And Brandon confirmed they were wild card teams when they got to the Super Bowl and won. So yeah, that's
back to subscribing and hitting that notification bell, man. It means a lot if you guys could do that. It definitely helps the channel, and it helps Jamar and myself grow a little bit, so we can best give our way to deliver you guys great content, and so that we guys know that you are engaged. So if you could do us a favor, do that. It goes a long way.
It does, and just so you know, since the Super Bowl is 2 weeks from today, we will be off 2 weeks until the Super Bowl. So no pod next Sunday. Taking the week off, but when we come back, we will have a couple of guest appearances. One would be our brother Alex Wiggins, who won our main league, who defeated me in the championship game. Yeah, that hurts, but no, I'm not. In all actuality, I'm excited. I mean, I was happy for him to do so in the fashion that it happened, and we'll discuss more on that. And we'll have another special guest, so it'll probably be 4 of us on at the same time. And we'll get picks for Super Bowls. Definitely, be there as well. Comment, tell us who you got winning the Super Bowl and stuff like that. We'll definitely make a party out of it. So yeah, with all that being said, see you then. For my brother Deshaun, Jamar, Destination Fantasy Podcast will be available shortly after this. And see you in 2 weeks.
Peace.